Hello. So the first thing I did with the first graph was I found my x's and my point that is given to me. So my x's are 5, 1, and -1. And my point given to me is 0, -10. So I used this equation, f of x equals a, which I'm using as just as a placeholder for my coefficient, and then plugging in my x values. So x plus 1, since we have a -1, and then x minus 1, but since it's just a regular bounce here on the graph, that means it's going to have an even multiplicity. And so for the sake here, I just made it squared, so x minus 1 squared times x minus 5. And then I used my point not on the x-axis, which was 0, -10, so I plugged in -10 for f of x, and then I put 0, my x value, into the x values on the equation and solved and came out with a equals 2. So I put in 2 for a here, and then I simplified my equation and came out with 2x to the 4th minus 12x cubed plus 8x squared plus 12x minus 10. And if you plug that into Desmos, you will come out with this exact graph. Now, on to the second one. My x's here are 2, 0, and -2. And my point given to me is 1, 9. So once again, I used a as a placeholder. And then for, I went ahead and my x cubed. So here you have an x of 0, but as you can see, the graph kind of levels off before it goes up again, which tells you that it is an odd multiplicity. So since it's 0, I didn't put any need for parentheses, so I made it x cubed. Then we have our normal x minus 2 and x plus 2. So my point given to me, I put 9 in for f of x, and I plugged in 1 for all of my x values. And I came out with a equals -3. Plugged that into my equation and came out with f of x equals -3x to the 5th plus 12x cubed. Alright, so now we have our second degree graph. Our x values here, let you look at it. Our x values are -6 and 1, and our point given to us is 0, -6. So we put in f of x equals our placeholder a times x minus 1 and x plus 6. Our point given again is 0, -6, so we put in -6 for f of x and plug in 0 for our x values. And you come out with a equals 1. Put that as your coefficient and simplify, and you get f of x equals x squared plus 5x minus 6. Which, when you plug it into Desmos, it gives you that exact graph. Alright, our cubic graph right here. Our x's here are, this one is -4, -1, 2, oh no, I'm looking at the wrong one. Oh no, our x's here are 1, 2, and 3. Excuse me. And our point given to us is 0, -6. So we plug in our points, a as our coefficient placeholder, x minus 1, x minus 2, and x minus 3. Then we plug in -6 for our f of x and 0 for our x values, and you come out with a equals 1. Plugging that into our coefficient and simplifying, we get x cubed minus 6x squared plus 11x minus 6. Now for our fourth degree graph, here it is here. Our x values here are -4, -1, 2, and 3. And our point given to us is 0, 24. A for our coefficient placeholder again, and then our values x plus 4, x plus 1, x minus 2, and x minus 3. Plug in 24 for our f of x and 0 for our x's, and we should come out with a equals 1 once again. And then you simplify everything here, and then you should come out with x to the 4th minus 15x squared plus 10x plus 24.